Okay, hello, Allie.
Hi, Minnie. You never
I'm
say my name. We always say our own
I
names.
know. That's why I'm like pause now. Do you want to continue to introduce?
Welcome to Liverpool, USA. We are best friends, and this is our best friends podcast.
Yeah. And today we're talking about social media?
Yeah, and like the culture of being online, which we all are to an extent. I'm 23, you're 24, and we both grew up kind of right when you could be online when you were a kid for the first time. Like our parents couldn't really be online when they were kids.
No, yeah.
And I feel like, we really grew up and were the correct age to kind of grow up with the internet. As social media came out, we were the age that social media was like targeted towards, you know
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't I mean, I'm not sure where you were thinking of going with this, but like I didn't have like social media or really be online consistently until my freshman year of high school. Like I remember being really young and our aunt I think made us a Facebook so we could play Farmville. And I didn't use it for anything else. And I remember being really really young and playing, like Neopets stuff and like I don't think I ever
yeah,
did Club Penguin, but like stuff like that and like dress up
yeah,
games and like little kid
yeah.
internet games. But I didn't have like social media and be online regularly until my freshman year of high school. I got my stepsister's old laptop.
Yeah.
And I I mean, I was super into music things, so I was like looking at music things and stuff, but actually the first like social media that I had, or like first like interactions that I had online were actually for Warriors, like the books. I was
I
like,
do you see what I wrote in the notes? Because I wrote
no, what
about
did
this in
you
the
write?
notes. I said, "Do I remember that you had a
Oh
Warriors
yeah.
Cats fan page?"
I did. I was like active with at least one like, original character on someone else's like fan website.
Wow.
And then I actually started my own that I don't think was very popular. I don't even remember at this point, but I like started my own. That's how it started. And then I,
Yeah.
I got the rest of my social media when it was freshman year and Austin and Ally was just being on Disney Channel. And I thought that the main character guy was so cute. So I looked him up on my laptop because I had that in my room now. And we'd have to like, share a computer with like everyone else in the house in
Yeah.
like the kitchen. It's like in the dining room area.
Yeah.
So I could like do whatever I wanted. And so I like looked him up and he was in a band called R5. So I looked
Mhm.
up that band and then I liked that band. And so and I liked that band enough that I made like a Twitter to follow all the band members and like fans and stuff. I made a Tumblr for the same reason.
Oh my
Um
gosh.
yeah, and I made an Instagram. Like
Wow.
all of those started like to basically to be like a fan of this band is like how really like all my social media presence started. And I didn't get a smartphone until my senior year of high school actually,
Yeah.
which I feel like is actually kind of late for people my age. Um
Yeah.
yeah, and that's when like I mean, I don't really know if it's done more bad than good for me. Like to be completely transparently honest, probably bad.
Yeah.
Like yeah, cuz I spend absolutely too much time on social media. Like I am like a poster case for, how much people are on social media too much these days,
Yeah.
and that is just it's the truth. So
Yeah.
I guess that's
That's your
my
story.
shortened story of
Yeah.
my experience being online.
Yeah, okay, I guess I can tell my version of this, which is that yeah, as a kid, we had like my sister and I had like I guess it was a laptop, but it was in my mom's office. It wasn't my mom's computer, but it was like specifically for my sister and I, but it was like in my mom's office and she would always be around if we were going to use it, you know? And it was for things like, yeah, like Webkins or like Club Penguin or like, those types of like kid computer game type things. And I think it was like an old laptop, like from my dad or something. I don't know exactly where that laptop came from, but yeah, it was like an old laptop. So it wasn't like the latest and greatest. It was very slow. And then we could do all of our like dumb kid games on it.
Yeah.
And then I remember in I want to say like 7th grade, maybe 8th grade, I got an iPod Touch for Christmas. And that was the first time I was able to have like internet that I could just like be using that I didn't have to share with Jess. Because we could play stuff like by ourselves on the shared computer, like with just my mom like hanging out or whatever. But usually if one of us was playing, both of us were like sitting at the computer because that's how sisters be.
Yeah, that's how it was like with Nikki and I too.
Yeah. And so yeah, when I got the iPod Touch, that was the first time I was like, oh, I can just like do what I want to do without like anybody, looking over my shoulder. I can just like do whatever I want. And like, the iPod Touch, you could have like apps as well, like games and stuff. And you could have like Facebook or Instagram. And I don't know that I definitely didn't have Instagram yet. I had Facebook, and I remember that I had to like kind of convince my mom to let me have a Facebook when I was in 8th grade because it was kind of like, I don't know if you should like have one, but like I guess. And it was weird because like what like why did I need Facebook? Like I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. To play Farmville.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what we did.
yeah. I did play Farmville as well.
Yeah.
Um and I know that I like specifically was not allowed to have Snapchat.
Oh, interesting.
Um and I was also um I don't think I had Instagram yet, but I think it was just because it like wasn't really like the pop-in thing to do yet.
Mm.
Like I don't think I wasn't allowed to have it. It was just like, I don't know, maybe like when I got Instagram, which I think was like my freshman year of high school, I remember that I had to be a little bit sneaky about it because like my parents just kind of weren't
Mm.
aware of what it was. But I know that if I had described it to them, they would have been like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was kind of, I was just dipping my toes into the social media game on my iPod Touch. And I also, this was when I started watching YouTube because I had it on my iPod Touch and I could like watch it whenever I wanted to.
Yeah. I had
And it
weirdly enough, I remember the laptop that I used. Um I don't know, I don't remember if it was just on YouTube or I don't remember how it worked. It might have been just on YouTube or like just on a certain
mhm,
site. The sound didn't work. And so I
weird,
don't remember how I ended up listening to, like a lot of the music and stuff that I found because I remember that it had an issue with sound. So like sound didn't work a lot on it. But yeah, I was
interesting.
definitely watching like R5 the band that I was in love with had, like videos on YouTube and stuff. So I was also like getting heavy on
Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely on YouTube. I never ever ever participated though. Like I
Yeah.
would never like or
Or
comment
comment
or
or
anything.
anything. Yeah, me
It was
too.
always purely viewing. And I like in the beginning, I feel like the type of videos that I wanted to watch were pretty like like they were just like that like funny, quote unquote funny um stuff that was really popular in like, you know, when was that? Like 2010?
Yeah, I was a
Yeah.
freshman in 2011, I think. So you would have been a freshman like a
Yeah.
year later. Yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah, it was like that. It was like the Potter Puppet Pals and like
Oh,
um
and like Charlie the Unicorn.
yeah, all of those like funny like
Yeah.
again,
Uh-huh.
quote unquote funny
Uh-huh.
things. Um that's what I was watching at first. And then high school kind of hit, and I think it's very telling, like what I was going through emotionally. Like, being a teen and like
Uh-huh.
learning about high school. That I by the end so like that's where I was in 8th grade. By the end of ninth grade, I had Twitter, I had Instagram, I had Facebook, I had Snapchat, I think I had Vine
Yeah,
at
you
that
had
point. I
these
don't know if
things like
Vine.
younger than me actually, because I didn't have a
Yeah.
lot of things until like later. Like I didn't have a Snapchat until my senior year of high school, till I was like
Yeah.
17 or whatever.
Well, because I had the
Yeah.
iPod Touch, and
Oh
I
yeah.
also
I
at the
had
end of my
I sorry,
what?
I just remembered I had an iPod Touch also from my stepsister.
Mm-hmm.
But I like don't remember if it had a camera. I don't remember what I did on it. I
Oh
must have
yeah.
done like Instagram stuff. How did I know that I like used my mom's phone to do
Mm,
Instagram and stuff sometimes cuz all it was in the beginning was literally just an R5 fan account. I would like make edits of pictures and stuff
yeah,
and
yeah.
like post them. So, yeah.
At the end of my freshman year of high school, because I started working my freshman year of high school, so
Oh,
like I
yeah.
had a job and I had money, my freshman year of high school, and I was allowed to spend my money on what I wanted to spend it on, and so I was like, well, I want an iPhone, so
Wow.
I'm gonna save my money. And at the end of my freshman year of high school, I bought an iPhone.
Wow, can you still do that? Can you still buy an iPhone with
I
freshman
think
year
they're a
working
lot more
money?
expensive now.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, they're like really expensive.
Because I remember the first iPhone I got was like the iPhone 3 or something.
Yeah,
So it was like the old, like weird tiny one.
yeah,
um, so yeah, I got that, and then I was able to have like any of the apps. And I remember some of them I still kind of wasn't allowed to have, but I just had them anyways. Because it's like
yeah,
it's on my own phone that like has a password. Like how would they
yeah.
know?
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I started, doing a lot more social media, being online a lot more. I started watching YouTube in kind of a different way. I got really deep into like the beauty guru YouTube.
Oh, Nikki and I in high school got really deep into, um, like I don't even know if it's really like a genre of YouTuber, but maybe like vlogger. We watched a lot. Like we were so dedicated to Dan and Phil, which was Amazing Phil and Dan is Not on Fire. And they had like a group. Oh my gosh, I forgot what it was called. But at the time, they were like currently uploading this like show that they did together. And so we were very dedicated to that. And we also watched like here and there other people. Who else did we even watch? I feel like it was people that were similar to that. Like Kick the PJ was like in that group and like a couple other probably like British boys. But
Yeah.
I just remember that we were like very I guess we don't talk about him anymore, but like Destry um
Oh yeah.
and like Nathan who was like his friend. Um
Yeah.
we also were like big fans of them at the time. Yeah, but we were
Yeah.
very it was actually I kind of consider it like a really good bonding activity at the time because we would like
Yeah.
sit together and watch these guys be funny and
Yeah.
it was like a good time. So, yeah.
My like I thought that she was so funny. I still think she's like funny.
Mhm.
But I was like so obsessed with Grace Helbig.
I remember her. We didn't watch I don't think that we watched any of her videos, but she was in that circle. Like she was in that like group
Yeah.
of YouTubers that we watched. Yeah, so I remember her.
I was like pretty obsessed. I watched her thing when she used to have like a different channel that was like run by somebody else and it like
Mm.
uploaded daily. And I was obsessed. I would watch it every single day because it came out every like
Yeah.
weekday. I would
Yeah.
watch it every single day. Yeah, I was obsessed with her. I was and then like I said, I was really deep into like beauty guru YouTube. So I was like doing all the like makeup stuff. I literally thought that that was how I was gonna get like cool, is I was gonna
Yeah.
like figure out how to do my makeup and like look cool. And then
Yeah.
everyone would like figure it out too.
Oh. Yeah.
So I was very deep into that. And that's when I started being on like Instagram and like Twitter and stuff a lot more, is because I was definitely following like, all those people I was watching on YouTube. That's what they would do to like promote themselves or to like show off or whatever, was through Instagram and Twitter, and like, that's how they were showing their life, I guess, besides YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was trying to like emulate that in so many ways. So I was
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
emulate that in terms of like, doing the makeup and like all of that they were telling me to do. But then also I was like, oh, well, they post like, these really aesthetic pictures on Instagram. Like I should do that too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's where I was like through a lot of high school. And I definitely remember in like the middle of high school, I was using social media a little like what I would call recklessly. And
Oh.
like obviously I would never like post anything that bad because I never did anything that bad. Like my personality wasn't like to do anything that crazy anyways.
Yeah.
But I had no regard for like what was good to share or not good to share online. It was like, oh, anything that's good, like that I'm doing in my life or going on in my life at all, could be just on social media. And it was again like never like, it was never me doing anything bad that would
Mhm.
be like really problematic for me to like have online, because I simply wasn't doing that, but I had no like concept of boundaries.
Yeah.
Um and I think that's because it, at that age I had, and I think this is true because of the time that it was happening and also because of my age. Because I think a lot of people didn't really understand like the scope of social media quite yet. But then also being 15 like does not help.
No. I
Um,
I think I posted like, kind of like cringy things,
yeah,
and like quote pictures and stuff.
yeah.
But I never really like I never really caught on to the like post everything that you do on social media thing, which
Mm,
is I know like still super common in social media, and
yeah,
one thing that like people make fun of a lot of people for is, there's a lot of people that post like what seems like literally everything that they're doing every day on social media. But I
yeah,
never quite got like that. Yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't say that I was posting every single thing that I did. It's more just like the things that I would post would have no sense of like privacy. Like
Oh, uh-huh.
I would just post things and like just say what I was thinking. And
Mhm.
again, it was never anything like bad, but it was just like, do I need to like put that on Instagram? Like
Yeah,
probably
probably
not.
not. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like yeah, it would just be like a weird like bad picture and I just like post it anyways,
Yeah.
And it was like never anything bad, but it'd just be like a picture of like cookies I made but like for no reason.
Yeah.
Or it would just be like I don't know, like it would be very random pictures.
Mhm.
And I just like
Mhm.
had no concept of like, is this something that like I want to post or am I just like posting literally anything?
Yeah.
And I think it's because it really didn't feel like global. It felt like, oh, it's just like what I would say to my friends.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like,
Yeah.
oh, anything that I would just like talk about with my friends, I can just post online and then my friends will see it there instead of me talking to them about it.
Yeah.
You know? And so I would just post like the most random stuff. And I mean, I guess there was nothing wrong with that really, because I was just like a kid, like doing whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously it didn't lead to anything bad.
No, and because like I said, there was never anything like bad. It was literally
Yeah.
just like weird, kind of like I
Yeah,
don't
just
know.
like
It was just
maybe a
like
little cringy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was never like bad or
Yeah.
anything. It was just like okay,
Yeah, I feel bad for kids. Like I think it's good that I didn't have that much like social media freedom or like specifically a smartphone when I was
yeah,
like 15, and like,
yeah,
and everything. Like I didn't even have one until I think I was 17. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, like that's probably a good thing. I can't even imagine being like now literal like small children can have smartphones, and people who are really really
yeah,
young are like online, like on social media, which I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think that I agree with that. I don't think that that's really a good thing. But I
yeah,
mean, things are just different now. Like that's just the way that it is now. So, Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know, it's weird.
it is weird. As soon as I kind of like I just remember kind of having this shift in my head about the time I was a senior in high school, maybe freshman year of college, where I really started to be like, oh, actually, this is bad. Like all of this is awful. Like I don't like the pressure that all of this kind of creates for everybody. I don't like how like in everybody's eyes you are all the time, like how much you're perceived all the time and how much you're judged all the time. And I also realized like, oh, I kind of don't want my private information just like for everybody to know.
Yeah.
Like I remember it was like such a switch in my mind where I was like, oh, actually I don't want to share all of this stuff on Instagram. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. And so I remember my senior year of high school, freshman year of college, I stopped posting on Instagram really. And I made like a private Instagram account that was like separate that only had like literally, it was private, locked, and then also only like my closest friends and like my sister could see it. So like in the beginning it was literally like 6 people. And I was like, okay, well I still want to be able to like kind of have this outlet where I can like keep my photos and keep um thoughts and things, but I don't want it to be public at all.
Yeah.
And I also my freshman year of college started a Tumblr, which I had never really had Tumblr like in high school. Like I never really did like got super into Tumblr. I think because I just wasn't aware of it. Like my friends
Mm.
didn't have it and like I wasn't online enough to know of its existence, I guess. Maybe I was just like not paying attention. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how I discovered it. Now that you mention that, like I have no idea
yeah.
why I created a Tumblr, but I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just yeah, I was kind of never aware of it. And then I also think maybe at one point cuz my parents were pretty like tried to tried to keep me away from like a lot of internet stuff that could have been not great. And I remember maybe my dad saying once when I was younger that like Tumblr had like, porn on it basically.
Yeah.
um
Well, it did.
and so yeah, it did. It used to.
Yeah.
And I was like terrified of that.
Oh,
So I was
yeah.
like, no, I will not be participating. But
Yeah.
yeah, when I was a freshman in college, I wanted somewhere that I could put my writing that was completely anonymous. And so I made my Tumblr and it was anonymous. Like I told not one person about it. Like I just posted it onto Tumblr and like whoever found it, like strangers, but I never told a single soul like of my friends about it for a long time.
Yeah, I
Um
think that's one thing about Tumblr that I think a lot of people like is how easy it is to be anonymous on there. And I think that
yeah.
most people, at least in my experience, like from what I've seen and also like me included, a lot, if not most Tumblr users use it to like post about other things or like
Yeah.
post like be a fan of something. Like I got one and I still use it primarily as like a fan of like music and bands specifically, but
Yeah.
like I think that a lot of people don't post super personal stuff on it, like they post just like they're a fan of something or
Yeah, I do really feel like Tumblr usually isn't social media in the sense that like Twitter or
yeah,
Instagram
it's
is. You're
definitely
not
its own
talking about
thing.
yourself
Yeah,
usually.
which you can and people do, but it's
Yeah.
like still it's still so easy to be anonymous on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that I my freshman year of college, all I wanted to do, like I it was a real shift because in high school I think all I wanted was to be looked at in a way that was like positive. Like all I wanted was for people to like look at me but then say something nice about it, which
Oh
I think
yeah.
was very like reflective of the way I was using social media at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
then as soon as I got to college, all I wanted was for nobody to look at me ever again. Like,
Yeah.
I just wanted like some fucking peace and quiet, like I just
Yeah.
I was like, leave me alone.
Which is kind of
Um,
funny because I think it's a little bit of an opposite situation for me because like in high school or like most of high school how I primarily used social media was like I created all of my social media to post like edits of like pictures of bands and like to be a fan of bands and in other
yeah,
like fan groups and stuff of things, and I didn't really post a lot about myself. It was mostly just
yeah,
like here's a thing that I like. But then as I got older and like got into college and stuff, it became more personal and like my Instagram, I actually made a new one. So my old one is still I privated it, but the old one that has like all the our flight pictures on it and stuff is still out there. But
oh my god,
you can't find it though. But yeah, like I made a new one that has like, pictures of like actual things that I've done, and then also as like my college life went on, I was discovering more and more that social media is necessary, or at least, yeah, I would say that these days it's necessary for someone if you are a creative, like if your career is like a creative career.
yeah,
Like with me, I'm trying to have a creative career, so like I post art and music and writing stuff, or I try to when I do
yeah,
it. But when I try to do it, so like I'm trying, it's like more personal now, and I like want more people. Well, I feel like I've always, wanted people to like follow my social media. I don't know, cuz
yeah,
even before I was like, like fan edits of like pictures are still art, so like I wanted people to
yeah,
see that, but I think increasingly so I've wanted, like, I don't have any, like my Instagram isn't like private, my
yeah,
Twitter, like all of that stuff, like it's like the public can see it, and
yeah,
I do that on purpose because you know doing that has become necessary for someone who wants their artistic, creations to be seen by people and to be known. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm really split. Like half of my social media presence is completely. I would say the place that I am the most active on social media is my private Instagram that only 25 people follow. Um, that is where I'm the most active on social media, and that's where I'm the most comfortable on social media. The
Yeah.
other place that I used to be very, very active on, and I just am so busy now, but is like I used to write on Tumblr all the time, and it became a lot
Yeah.
less anonymous,
Mhm.
because I started talking about it a little bit, um, and but for the most part, my Tumblr was and still is, I guess, like pretty much anonymous. Like I don't, pretty much you and like maybe two other people that follow me on Tumblr are like people I actually know, and like everybody else. And I have like I don't know how many followers I have on Tumblr, but like a decent amount, and like I get decent amounts of interaction on my stuff when I post it there. Um, and those are all complete strangers. Um, and that's where I'm the most comfortable on social media, is kind of when I'm either talking literally just to my actual close friends, or when I'm talking to completely random people, and I'm not, I mean, my writing is a little bit about myself, but most of the time I'm just kind of writing about whatever I'm writing about. It's not really like me sharing my life really in the way
Yeah.
that like Instagram is, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
But I do, I mean, I think we're kind of talking a little bit about like, you know, some of the negatives of social media, and I do think that there are positives. Like I do think that, like you said, it can be really important to have a good social media presence, for like a creative career, to get your work seen by people.
Yeah, yeah, I think that that is one of the one definitely one of the positives of social media is like people being able to more easily find things that interest them, and
Yeah,
artists to get their work out there for people to see. And then
yeah,
also I think that the most important thing of social media, which is which I feel like has gone way beyond this, but is to like follow the people that you are like not in contact with every day anymore that you
Yeah,
still want to be in
yeah,
contact
totally.
with. Like that is why I like still go on Facebook. Actually, there's a lot of reasons that I go on Facebook that probably aren't great, but but like, you know, there are people that I am friends with, and I think Facebook is just a good example because I've had it for so long and I'm
Yeah,
connected with so many people on that.
yeah,
But there are people that, you know, I was friends with years ago that, you know, I still root for, you know, even though I
yeah,
don't talk to them every day. And when they post things, you know, I like to see like, oh, you're doing good, you know, like you're still out there, you know. And I think
yeah,
that like, yeah, staying connected with people, I think is the best thing about social media, even though it has strayed so
yeah.
far beyond that.
Absolutely. I agree with that completely. Like I definitely there are people like extended family members and friends that I knew a while ago or, you know, people that I met once a long time ago, but I still yeah, I still want to know like in general how their life is going, but I'm not going to like call them ever, you know?
Right? Yeah.
But I do still care if like, you know, their life is going well. And it is nice to be able to see that. I It is hard because there are a lot of ways that that gets tricky, right? Like there's lots of things that that comes with, which is like seeing, you know, really annoying stuff on Facebook, like that, you know, extended
Yeah.
family will post that's like problematic and you just don't want to
Yeah.
see it.
Oh, I am so I do it to I don't know, keep myself humble or whatever or just to like remind myself that there are different types of people out there that have different viewpoints as I do, which I think that a lot of people forget. But Facebook, I am friends with so many people that I genuinely don't like in real life.
Yeah,
Or like definitely wouldn't agree with in real life that are
yeah,
from, you know, a long time ago. I don't even know how I became friends
yeah,
with them. And they definitely post things very often that I don't agree with. But
yeah,
uh but the only reason, at least this is the reason that I say and that I think that I still follow them is because I think that it's important to know that there are people who think differently than you, and it's important to
sure,
look at issues from all sides. And so I'm like, oh, okay, so there are people out there that think this way. You know, why do they think this way? And that question isn't always answered. I don't know why these people think a lot of things that they think,
right,
but yeah, you know, it's just yeah. I feel like a lot of people, you know, they'll post things that are like, oh, if you don't agree with this thing, then block me, you know, or if like you don't support this, then unfriend me. And I'm like, well, then you're just surrounding yourself with one viewpoint and it makes it harder to, you know, it makes it harder to form knowledgeable conclusions about things and to know what other people are even thinking if you're only going to surround yourself with people who only think the way that you do.
totally,
If that
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, so
Yeah, I think that's one of
yeah.
the things that that comes with being so much more online, like this generation, I guess, is so
Yeah.
much more online and I think in a way, you know, we expect ourselves and our peers to be, you know, quote unquote woke about all of these things, you know,
Yeah.
and to be really like on it with every single thing that like any corner of the internet is like screaming about at any given moment. And that kind of brings me to one thing that I really struggle with social media, especially in the past couple of years, which is I I mean, okay, I'm gonna just speak from like a specific example. Um, and hopefully I will make my point very clear because I feel like this could sound like I'm saying something that I'm not saying. But
Okay.
anyways, so when the BLM protest started, every single person that you know, they all post like this little cartoon on their Instagram story that's like, this is why you need to support like BLM,
Mhm.
which I agree. Yes. Um, but I've heard a lot of people saying if you're not like talking about this on your social media, then you don't care or like you're not participating, you're not like, you know. And I found that to be really bothersome to me.
Yes, I definitely see where you're coming from. Which, because people who are posting stuff, like social media is performative, and
Yes.
for someone like me specifically, I don't, even though yeah, I do want a lot more followers, because that, a lot of my, my art and stuff, like I want people to see it, I want people to support me, and there is still a little bit of me that's like, I could be famous, I don't know,
Yeah.
I still have, so like, yeah, I want more people to follow me, but the fact is my following is not that big. And so I'm like, there's, for me to take the time to post these, like, performative activism things on my social media isn't gonna change anyone's mind, isn't, not a lot of people see what I post. And it's not that important for me for everyone to like know that I specifically think a really specific way. Like, that's not important to me. The
Yeah.
way that I live my life in real life outside of online is so much more important than what
Well,
I'm
that was the
posting
thing.
online. Yeah.
Yeah, is I was I don't know, I kind of felt a little bit judged, I guess, for not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
posting something. But like,
Mhm.
behind the scenes, I am in downtown Portland when this is happening. I
Mm.
am, donating to a cause that,
Yeah. Which
I
you
felt
can
was
do. You can donate to things
without
without posting it on
posting
social
it,
media.
which is
Yeah.
exactly what I did. And then I still, for some, even though I was literally doing, and I was having, those difficult conversations with family members and people in my
Mhm.
life about why this is important. I was doing the work, I was doing the reflecting, I was doing the donating, I was doing the supporting of like all of the things. And somehow the pressure of social media got to me more, where I was like, am I being like, am I not a good, ally in this scenario because I'm not posting something on my Instagram story? And I think that is like something I really don't like about social media, is like, this isn't
Yeah.
just in a like a political sense. This can be in all kinds of scenarios with social
Yeah.
media, where it's like everything else in your life is the way that you want it, but if you don't put it on Instagram, then it's not real.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I definitely get what you mean. Yeah.
that is not, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's not good. I think that it's even worse, like specifically for when any type of, social thing happens, or like political thing, like significant event or anything, there
Yeah.
are just so many people that are like waiting for the celebrities to speak. Like,
Yeah.
what do these celebrities think about it? And then if a celebrity doesn't say anything, then they're like, oh, this is a bad person because they're not using their voice to, like, amplify this. And then if they do say something, they're critiqued for however they said it. Like, there's no
Yeah.
winning when you're like, I mean, not that I have, too much. You can only have so much sympathy for celebrities, because they're celebrities. A lot of them, they got it really good. So,
Yeah.
but, and I do think, so I have a little bit of a mixed opinion about this, because I do think it's fair to um think that a celebrity, because celebrities are, you know, like very well known in our society, and like
Yeah.
probably more regarded, like than they should be, as people who can influence people.
Yeah.
Um So, on one hand, I do think that it could be very good and important for celebrities to talk about certain issues, because that is going to make more people aware of them, and it could
Yeah.
even sway their opinion on it. But on
Yeah.
the other hand, I don't think that we should be like so attentively, incessantly looking towards celebrities and like expecting them to say things, like to comment on everything as soon as it happens, and expecting them to post about it, and expecting them to say what we want them to say about it. Like, that's not what they're there for, like they're not,
I also, yeah, I
you
also think,
know?
it's very important to remember that you don't want people speaking about things that they don't know anything about.
Yes, that too,
Whether or not they're like,
definitely.
quote unquote on your side or like on the right
Mhm.
side or whatever. if they don't know what they're talking about, that's not who you want speaking on the subject, even
Yeah.
if they are
Yeah.
influencing
Then
lots
it's
of
better
people.
for them to stay quiet and let people who know what they're talking about speak.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I'm all for celebrities with big platforms if they are passionate about something and they want to talk about why this cause is important to them or whatever, and they can have a lot of influence about it. I think that's great. Like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't do that, but it's more just like the expectation that every single celebrity will talk about every single thing when they're a musician or they're,
Mhm.
just some kind of like athlete or something. It's like, I don't know, maybe they don't know about that, or maybe they don't have
Yeah.
the right words to speak on it, or maybe they just, want somebody else to talk about it in a way that makes more sense, or whatever it may be. I just
Yeah.
think it's unfair to expect every single person to be 1,000% correct about every single thing. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, if there's things that you want to talk about that you feel qualified to talk about on Instagram and you have people who are listening to you, okay, yeah, I'm not saying you
Yeah.
shouldn't do that, but
Yeah.
I'm saying to expect or judge other people for not doing it, or assuming that they just must not care about the cause or something, I think is not the move. I think it's not
No.
really fair to ask that of celebrities or of ourselves and our peers. Like, I don't think that that's
Mhm.
reasonable to ask of anybody.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, like it's good to post information and resources and things
Yeah,
like that, but if you don't have that, like I don't think that you should, like people have lives that they're living, you know?
yeah,
They have jobs and like families and like things like that. So not everyone can just like, be an activist on social media all day.
yeah, yeah. Especially when, yeah, I think it's very important to remember that the it does a lot more good to have a real conversation with somebody in your life who has some kind of problematic view and talk to them and connect with them personally. I think that does a lot more good, or donating actual money dollars to a cause does a lot more good than posting about it on your Instagram story when you have 200 followers, like, who all pretty much are on the same page as you anyways, and the ones who aren't
Yeah.
don't care anyways.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think there's
exactly.
there's just a lot more good that you can be doing with your time. And so, like, the fact that I felt the most judged about not posting something on Instagram, more so than any of the other pieces, I think there's a problem there, like a big problem
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we could have an entire conversation about how big the problems are with social media. And it
Yeah.
is unfortunate that I do think that, like, the cons outweigh the pros at this point. It's unfortunate, but,
Yeah,
I really think that they do. There's just too many people who are loud that don't have good things to say. Just be nice. Like that's cheesy or
yeah,
whatever, but like
but you heard it here
literally if
first.
you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah,
Simply.
simply.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, I mean, even things that aren't, directly unkind, there's a lot of comparison, there's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of, showing parts of people's lives that are not realistic, or showing things that are, I think it's very, it's a lot worse than like the Teen Vogue magazines that we all used to read. It's that, but it's way worse
Yeah.
now because it's
Yeah.
all the time, and the advertisements are way worse, and they're
Oh,
all the time.
God. We can have an entire freaking episode about me ranting about advertising.
I would love that. Yeah, we
Oh
should
my
add that to the
gosh.
list.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess with that, with like all of that being said, I'm curious to know like what our like practices are now with social media, because I know for me, once I started to realize a lot of this stuff, I took drastic changes. Like, as soon as I realized, well, not as soon as, I guess, but like, this happened when I was in Hungary, I think. I remember we talked about this or it was like right before I went to Hungary, maybe. I don't know. But one year, like around New Year's, I decided that I was gonna stop being on my phone as much because it made me feel bad. And start reading a lot more. Like I was gonna switch phone and media consumption to reading. And so I put timers on all of my social media apps, and I still have them. Like today, I have timers on every single social media app. Um, Facebook gets the least amount of time because it makes me the most angry. Um, and I think Instagram and Twitter both have like 40 minutes a day, and then Facebook has like 15 minutes, and then TikTok has like 30 minutes, I think.
Oh yeah, and I don't even have a TikTok.
Don't
I'm
get
proud of
one.
myself for that one.
I didn't for a while.
Yeah, the only reason why I would ever get one is if I ever get a job that would require it, which could be possible if I'm like working for, like a publisher or whatever, because it's,
Yeah,
like brands have to have TikToks or whatever, but I'm avoiding it. I don't have a
that's good.
TikTok.
Yeah. I really didn't have one for so long. And then when I started dating my boyfriend Abe, uh he would like talk about TikTok all the time. And I was kind of like, I kind of had like that social media FOMO, which I think is also a bad thing. But I was like, I just want to know like all of these jokes, you know.
Yeah.
And I liked Vine a lot, and I know that it was like kind of Vine-esque, you know. And so I was like, well, okay, I'll just get it, and I'll be really like controlled about it. And I was for a while. I was very like, oh, I'm just like seeing what's on here, seeing what he sent me, you know, and like that's it. And then over the summer, I kind of like got a little lost in it a little bit. Um, and then I had to like rein myself back in and be like, okay, you are not like addicted to TikTok.
Yeah.
You
Oh
need to get out of
no.
here. So now I'm a little bit better at
Hmm.
controlling the amount of time that I spend on TikTok. Um, and yeah, I could say a lot more about TikTok, but I think I'll just not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that could
um,
also be a whole thing. TikTok is a
yeah.
whole thing.
But yeah, I try and have really clear boundaries with myself about social media with those like timers. And then I also like Tumblr for me, I know that it could be something that I'm on all the time. And so I deleted it off my phone, and I only go on it on my computer, and I only use it to post my own writing, and
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't do anything else on Tumblr because I could just
Yeah.
be on it forever. So I just am like, no, that's a hard boundary for me, is that I won't go on Tumblr just to like look at stuff. And the other thing I do is like I do not like stay friends with people on Facebook that make me mad for like no reason, you know? And I
Which
also
I
don't.
unfortunately do.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you
Yeah.
know, it's not like, you know, oh, they say one thing that's like slightly bad and I just like unfriend them. It's like, yeah, I just don't need to like look at stuff that makes me mad for no
Oh
reason.
yeah.
Like I just don't
Yeah.
need to do that.
Yeah.
And so I stopped. I was like, actually, who cares? If I don't like them anyways, why do I care if
Yeah,
they know that I don't want to be their friend on Facebook, you know?
that's true.
And with Instagram, I don't follow people that I compare myself to, even if they're people like my friends, even if they're like, I love them so much. But if I look at their Instagram and it makes me feel bad about myself because I compare myself to them or whatever, I will mute them. I will like, you know, take a step back because I feel like it's important to be like, to recognize when social media is not a fun thing and when it's a really unhealthy thing. And I try to be really really clear with myself, and I've noticed a big difference in like myself since I've done that. And at first I was really 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 strict about social media with myself, and I needed to like build that habit. And I feel like now I'm kind of a little bit more in like a loose era, I guess, of like
Mm.
kind of allowing more social media in. um but yeah, for a while, for like a year, I was so strict about like what I would let myself look at, you know. And I think that those habits like still continue, even though I'm a little bit more like allowing of myself to look at stuff now, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely am like the complete opposite of that. And I know I'm in phase 1 of like recognizing that I have a problem. but definitely, pretty much ever since I got a smartphone, I read less in my free time. My attention span is a lot shorter. I play music less. I do literally so many things that I even like to do less.
Yeah.
Like much less actual things that I need to do because I'm on social media all the time. And I've taken they're very very small steps, but maybe they still count as steps like um I haven't like for example Tumblr, I haven't followed anyone new in like
Mhm.
maybe years and
Okay.
so there's a lot of people that I used to follow that are just like not active anymore. And I haven't I think I've unfollowed quite a few people, but I think mostly I have a lot of people that I used to follow that are just like inactive. And
Mhm.
I'm like very strict about not following new people. So I haven't followed anyone new on Tumblr for a long time. And
Yeah.
so eventually the amount of stuff that I'm looking at will like run out like on my feed of people that I'm like looking at. And then I have to do something else because
Yeah.
um I do sometimes still get, where I'll like find a different blog, like an aesthetic blog or whatever and just like scroll forever, so that's bad. But like Facebook I've become a lot more strict about who I accept like friend requests from. Like if I don't know you in real life and care about you, then I'm not going to accept your friend request. And like Twitter I'm less strict about I'm pretty strict about who I follow unless you're like a journalist. Like Twitter is where I'm like this is where I will follow all of like these people in this
Yeah.
sphere that I want to be like connected with. And
Yeah.
Instagram I'm very picky about who I follow.
Yeah.
Um Snapchat I feel like no one uses anymore. I haven't added anyone on Snapchat forever, but I think that's mostly just because like
Yeah.
it's
I
like
mean,
a
I
little
talked to
bit
like,
dying.
yeah, we Snapchat each other
Yeah.
a little
Yeah, there's
bit,
like a
and then I
few
snap.
people that I still
Yeah.
like connect with on Snapchat, but like not a lot. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I like my sister Snapchat still, and then Abe and I Snapchat. Like
yeah.
that's kind of it. My mom just got Snapchat like
Oh.
this year.
yeah.
She loves a good Bitmoji.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
But that's about it.
like I have Discord chats that I'm in, but not very often. I have a YouTube that I watch quite often. Hello Game Grumps. That's pretty
I
much it.
don't watch YouTube very much anymore. I don't watch stuff very
Mm,
often
yeah.
anymore.
I
Like I
still
don't
watch
really
Game
watch
Grumps like
TV.
regularly. Yeah. I never watch television. Like,
Yeah, I never.
rabbit
Yeah,
ears or whatever. Cable. Don't know.
yeah, no.
Yeah, it's
I don't watch
all
TV
YouTube.
very often, and I watch YouTube sometimes, but it's very very
Mm.
specific. Um, that I'll watch, and it's like not even one specific thing. It's just like I'll be like I want to watch a video of this right now. Like it'll literally be like I want to watch a video of somebody renovating a cabin, and then I will watch that, and then I will be
yeah.
done.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. 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 I definitely still have like people that I follow on YouTube, but I'm not a. I mean, I watch Game Grumps pretty regularly because Justin and I watch it like when we eat dinner because I like to watch
Yeah,
something while I'm eating. So like stuff like that.
yeah,
So I'm still pretty regular like with that, but I'm just like looking at all my social media apps here because I have so many. I'm on
yeah.
Pinterest. I could be crazier on Pinterest. I'm not too crazy. I'm pretty cash with Pinterest.
I
Um,
really
but I
Pinterest and
do
I go
like
through
it.
phases.
Yeah.
I I like won't use it, and then I'll like have something like in my head that I just
Uh-huh.
want to like be represented somewhere, and it just always is
Pinterest is the
Pinterest.
place. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So,
could
yeah.
talk about the board that I just made on Pinterest like last week, but I specifically won't.
Okay.
Um, and you can go look up what it is if
Okay.
you want. If you
okay.
want to.
Yeah. So, I have too many social media accounts, but like Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are the four that I'm like on too much. And I know
Yeah,
that I have an issue and I'm on my phone so much, but I think the thing with it is um I think it's a little bit complicated and we're like not going to get into it because this is like a podcast and not a therapy session, but like
right.
scrolling through social media, especially like Tumblr, is just so like mindless. Like you don't have to think about anything. It's like
Yeah,
relaxing but not sleeping. Like you're still awake, you're consuming
yeah,
pictures, and like stuff like
yeah,
that. And you don't have to think, and I think that's like why I do it. And even why I do that instead of like doing things that I like to do, like reading, drawing, playing music, is, I mean, I don't really know. Like, I don't really know the reason, but I guess it
Yeah.
takes, like, it still takes, like, effort to do those things. And I think there's also a part of me that's like, I'm maybe not as good as those things as I want to be. And
Yeah.
so sometimes doing them is like a little bit intimidating, maybe because I like don't know where to start, or I'm like, afraid of, like not being as good as I want to be. And I don't even know. Like, we can
I think
psychoanalyze me on a different date, but
yeah.
it's just so easy to like just scroll and be mindless and just get
Yeah.
like stuck there. So that's kind of like where I'm
It
stuck
does.
at.
I noticed that I'm so freaking tired all the time because I work so hard
Yeah.
and long every
Yeah.
day that when I get home, reading takes more effort than
Yeah. Then like,
looking at pictures on my phone.
right, exactly. And I don't have,
And
I mean, I have a full-time job now, but like
yeah,
I don't have that much. I feel like I have generally less like energy for things like physically and especially mentally than like a lot of people. So I feel like I get run down really. Like some people can work like an 8-hour day and then like still do things, and I feel like I can't. Like it's really hard for me. I don't have a lot of energy. I get run down
yeah,
really fast. And so it's really hard for me to like do multiple things. So just like
yeah,
zoning out on my social media is just like,
yeah.
you
I mean,
know,
I feel the same way as like
yeah.
like the past, I don't know, 8 weeks or so, like since fall quarter has started, I have been pretty consistently pulling 12-hour days of work,
Ugh.
like every single day. And I mean that's just grad school, baby. But like
Yeah.
but like yeah, when I don't have any other brain power left after that. Like
Yeah.
I don't have any other, so like what am I going to do? I can sleep, I can look at my phone. Those are the two things I can do that don't require brain power.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Yeah. And I feel like I mean I don't know. I know how to not be on social media. Like I know that there's
Yeah.
other things that I want to do. I'm just
Yeah.
still in like, a slump right now where I'm still figuring out, physically how to get myself to do these things. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a constant battle because I mean I've
Yeah.
really gone back and forth with like having a good grasp on it and not. And I think it is just like the age that we live in, it's going to be a constant battle, you know, unless you just quit cold turkey. But it's like both of us are saying we want to have a healthy relationship with social media. We don't want to like have none of it at all, you know.
Yeah, yeah, especially with me, wanting to use it for like, my career purposes.
Yeah, and I mean me too. I mean,
Yeah.
mathematicians don't really need a Twitter account, but like,
Yeah.
writers do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I just feel
Yeah.
like, it's going to be continuing to find the balance of like, how much am I going to allow myself this for relaxation and how much am I going to allow myself for posting, when I post about art and
Mhm.
stuff. Cause I'm on social media a lot more than I post. I don't really post that much, which is,
Yeah.
is deceiving because I'm on it constantly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
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 Well, I know that we could keep talking about this
Yeah.
longer, but we should probably
Yes, I
wrap
think it's
ourselves up
time
here.
to wrap up. Yeah.
Do you want a question or is it too long today?
Uh, I mean, I really like continuing with the Clusterman question segment, but I think that I have a headache.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hungry.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
I would be okay with skipping that for today.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'll just say um we ran out of time for a Klosterman question today,
Yes.
but next time we will make sure to do one.
Yes.
And I think with that, until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
I'll talk to you next time.
Yes. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.